Very good afternoon and welcome to the edition of Dear Journalists. And today we are talking to mobile journalists who are in the industry, who are practicing mobile journalism. Today we want to make sense of this thing called mobile journalism as a new trend in storytelling. And I have a powerful panel with me this afternoon. I'll let them introduce themselves, and then we can delve into this. Who wants to go first? Rose.
Hi.
Yes. Please tell us something about yourself, about what you do, your experience with Mojo, and something that we do not know about you. Yes, that you're comfortable with sharing. Something interesting about you that you would want people to know.
Well, hi, my name is Rose Lorgisa, and I'm a mobile journalism fellow. That means I create content using my phone, right from shooting to editing to uploading. And currently, I'm working at Standard Media as a multimedia journalist. And something interesting about myself that most people don't know is I actually have a big heart and I love bikes. I love big bikes so much. Yes, so I think that's one thing that most people don't know about me.
Aha, interesting. Yes, Lawrence.
Hi, everyone.
Yes,
Hello.
we can hear you. Please.
Awesome. So my name is
Yeah.
Lawrence Mwangi. Also a mobile journalist. We're currently stationed at Kenyans.co.ke, which is like one of here in Kenya. And so yeah, I think the journey to being a mobile journalist came to me like it was just I don't want to call it destiny, but something that is really fun and amazing to to dive in, especially now during this digital era. Something you don't know about me is that something interesting, maybe off the books, is that I love horror movies and I love the way um, sometimes.
Um, okay.
All right,
Yeah,
can you
so
hear
I
me?
think yes,
That's
yes.
okay.
No, that's better. Yes.
Awesome. So I was telling you something interesting about me. Something off the books is that I love horror movies and I love the stories like this. And so that's just something interesting about me. Off the books.
Okay. So yes, now to the veteran himself, Mr. Anthony.
Eh, Hi, everyone. My name is Anton Makokha. I am a video journalist specializing in digital content production. I currently work with the BBC Innovation Team based here in Nairobi. And one thing I think most of you may not know is that I don't like being in front of cameras. I'm the person that likes being behind the cameras, being behind the scenes. Yes, and I have a passion for mobile journalism like way back before the time people never used to value the use of mobile phone. In doing my stories, I've always been having my camera and my mobile phone. And yeah, I'm sure we're gonna talk more about the usage of mobile phone on this.
Okay, thank you so much for the introduction, guys. So, for the purpose of those people who do not know what mobile journalism is, in your own words and in the way that you understand, and I want to start this conversation with you, Anthony, based on the number of years that you've been doing this, and the fact that you are practicing this in an international media organization. So, just to put this conversation into context, what mobile journalism is.
Well, mobile journalism, the way I know it is two things. There is a creation of content using a tool called a mobile phone. Okay, so
Yes.
whether the content is audio, that maybe you're doing a podcast, you're doing a radio piece using audio to record us a tool to help you tell that story, that's mobile journalism. The other bit is using mobile phone as a camera, where you're able to record pictures, that's the videos which you put together to create either a film for entertainment or a story for news or for a feature or telling a story using a mobile phone as a tool. Then the third thing is using a mobile phone to take pictures, which you can use to publish either online or even to print as a tool to help you tell that story. The other bit of mobile journalism is about consumption, using a mobile tool as a tool to help you consume content that has been produced. So whether you are a producer of content or you are a consumer of content using a device called a mobile phone, then you are in a way participating in what we call mobile journalism.
That is really a comprehensive definition from your end, Anthony. Do you want to add anything to that, Lawrence and Rose? Lawrence, do you want to unmute your mic?
I think like Anthony has just pretty much summarized what it entails, to be a mobile journalist. Like I feel like mobile journalism is just something like it's so convenient for like a lot of people. So that was just basically it.
Yeah. So for you, you're introducing the bit on convenience.
Yes.
Okay, Rose.
For me, basically, mobile journalism is creating content using your phone on the go, on the move. So you get to capture events live as they are, as compared to, let's say, using a camera where you have to take your shoot, then go sit down, upload it on Premiere Pro so that you can edit. Using your phone, you can actually do that on your phone. So for me, I define mobile journalism as creating content using your smartphone for people to consume, for your audience, because you all have audiences, let's say on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Snapchat, on WhatsApp. Basically, every time we take a picture or take a video and upload it on our social media platforms, I feel that's basically mobile journalism already.
Okay. Now, guys, if you're joining us now, we are talking about mobile journalism in practice. I know it's sort of a new concept that has come into this realm of storytelling, but we want to make sense of that and just look at it in terms of just a new way in telling stories. And I think one of the things that we keep mentioning is that technologies will keep changing, but the art of storytelling does not. So while mobile journalism is something new at the moment, a lot of more advancements are going to come in storytelling. But today we have Anthony Makokha from BBC. We have Lawrence Mwangi, who works at Kenyans.co.ke, and then we have Rose Lorgisa, who works at the Standard Media Group. Now, if you have any questions regarding mobile journalism, feel free to ask all those questions. Our panelists here are going to respond to those questions this afternoon. Now, I just want to try and understand this as a person who, assuming I have not had this term mobile journalism, and just whether it is something that can be put to practice. I know while out in the field, a lot of people, when you appear with your smartphone and you're going to do a story, a lot of people tend to think that you are not serious. There's that association of the big cameras to being serious, and that you're going to do something that a story, and people will listen to you and be able to start opening up and talking, although there's a flip side to that. But how has the experience been for you working as a mobile journalist? So because we are talking about experience, let's start with Anthony, who has a whole lot of experience.
Yes, for
Yes.
me, for me, it has been very interesting because way before people even embraced the use of mobile journalism, I was using a mobile
Yeah.
phone. So every time I would go to cover a story, I'm having my phone and I'm having the big camera. So because I know that with the big camera, I'm able to zoom in and have very high quality stuff. But with my mobile phone, I can use Osmo, for example. I can do some creative shots. I can do some back roll, B-roll shots. I can be able to do far much more. I can do two things at a go. For example, if I'm doing cutaways and I'm also doing the main interview, so I've always done
Yes.
that. And to be absolutely honest, it has not been easy because the perception, as you said, is that people expect big cameras, especially if you say that you are a journalist, you are working for a big media house, they expect
Yes.
cameras. In fact, I don't think people who have called for press conference will start the conversation until they see the big cameras and the lights. So if you go there with your small phone, somehow the
Yeah.
perception has been indifference. But I can tell you for sure, one thing that has really transformed this industry is the COVID pandemic, because
Uh-huh.
uh, ever since, I think maybe we'll go much into that detail. Uh, I can tell you that the big cameras are stuck in offices. What you're
Yes.
using right now are mobile phones. Yeah, like
Oh,
since
everyone is now
March,
using
cameras,
the.
because of the lockdowns, because of the security measures and the risks that are involved,
Yes.
uh, almost 70% of our content that is on digital platforms are being done via mobile phones. Okay,
That's
because
yeah.
the perception had to change because you can't go out. You are stuck there in the house, so you have to ask contributors to use their mobile phone to film and send you material, or have
Yeah.
interviews via Zoom or via these
Yeah.
platforms online. Yeah, maybe other people can contribute to this, but I can tell you the transformation has been immense since the COVID-19 pandemic on the use of mobile phone.
Okay, let's hear from the, let me say, younger mojos who've been, in practice like for how many months? 4 months now? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So how is the reception from members of the public when you go filming with your smartphone?
When let me just take you back a little bit to your previous question when you said like, what is mobile journalism? For me, when the term was introduced to me, like, what is mobile journalism? I was like, aren't those just like journalists who are mobile, who are moving? So that to me, like the concept of mobile journalism didn't even occur to me. Like you have to actually use your mobile phone. So like when I got into the activity of being a mobile journalist, I was like, so this is an entire like new world of journalism. And that preconception, like I think a lot of even the public have, not coming to your question, is like when they see you with a phone and you're like doing a story or like you're shooting something that is happening on the ground, they're like, they don't even take you seriously. So I think that particular aspect like makes them a little bit more less reserved and more true, like in that particular situation, so that you can like it gives you an edge like to maximize on your story instead of like coming there like big cameras. Like now people know it's official. Okay, like I have to like measure my words. I don't have to say this. So like being a mobile journalist, I think it has put us over the bar in terms of like the kind of content we are getting and the kind of like reception. Like people are more comfortable with you just filming them with a camera. Like I had an instance whereby like I was going to shoot a story and these people were like so anxious, like because I had previously like contacted them. They're like, oh my god, we're having a journalist come here, so they're expecting like tripods, they're expecting like big lights. But when I came there like with my tiny mojo kit, they were like, so we can just tell you about this story like the same way I'm telling like a friend. So I think the experience is more let me call it subtle in a sense.
Okay. How's it been for you, Lorgisa?
Hi. So for me, my experience has been amazing, but I had a little challenge in the beginning. Mobile journalism for me started way back in campus. through Mobile Journalism Africa. So in campus, it was really amazing because I could, my colleagues didn't have enough cameras and we had assignments to submit. And I was like, why not? I can use my phone to submit some assignments, which was really good because it saved on time and finances because you get those people with cameras who are actually hiring out their cameras. So that's when I learned about mobile journalism. And I can say I kind of perfected my art, then came working with Standard. I remember my first experience was when I called a lady and told her that I'm from Standard Media and we're coming to do a story. So she was excited and they were really excited. I remember when I got there, they were expecting a car and a whole crew. So there's this question she asked me, where's the rest of the crew? So I
Yeah.
said it's just me. I actually people who were there were so many people because I was covering the story of a single lady and at her workplace, and it's like she had told everyone KTN is coming to cover my story. So they were all there expecting cameras, and honestly, I saw disappointment in their faces when they just saw me with my backpack and a phone, and I didn't have a tripod. I had a gimbal. So I saw some disappointment, but I had to think real fast. I had to think of how to convince them that no, this is the new way to go. So I
Yeah.
actually used COVID as an escape plan. The way you tell someone with COVID around, you cannot afford to go with so many people from the office. You're going to be many in the van. I'm going to have a camera person. I'm going to have someone for the lights. So I'm going to have a driver. And they were like, oh, yes, it makes a lot of sense. Inside my heart, I was like, I nailed it. So I felt good about it. And after that, I saw that at least they accepted it. Then there are those days that actually people loved it when they saw me with with the phone and not a camera because they felt easy to talk to. They imagine you're going to have a story and there are so many people surrounding you. You know the whole crew. There's a reporter. There's a camera person. So going out there with a smartphone, I saw they were a little bit relaxed. So it's been comme ci, comme ça. Other people are accepting the mobile journalism. Others are a little bit disappointed.
All right. And now that you mentioned the issue of COVID-19 and the fact that working with your smartphone is easier, and even for Anthony. So how has the experience been for you as a journalist since March? Since the pandemic started. Anthony, how has the situation been, and are there stories that you could probably even share, that we can, I mean, so that people can see that it's possible, that it's practical to use the smartphone and do actual stories that go to press.
Okay, so when there was lockdown of the country, most as BBC we cover, as BBC Africa we cover
Yes.
Africa, and the Nairobi office we cover like the eastern part of Africa. And so we do a lot of stories that cover is it Uganda, Tanzania, Sudan, Ethiopia, all these countries, Somalia. Then you see there was lockdown, planes are
Yeah.
grounded, and then there are also safety measures that were put in place, which you know totally disabled the deployment. So people will not be sent to the field. Okay.
Yes.
Then I work for digital team, so we all went on remote working. So all my team members went to work from home. No one goes to the office.
Yeah.
Only critical services are allowed to go to the office to do their work. Guys who are doing broadcast or doing radio or live, people who must go to the office are the only ones allowed to go to the office. So, and there's a pandemic. There are many stories, but these stories are out there with the people. Okay, so how
Yeah.
do we tell these stories? Our cameras are locked in the office. Everyone has gone home. Okay, so the only thing we have is we still have to tell stories. We are journalists, and we are the BBC. We tell stories that no one else can tell. If no one else can tell it, we can tell it. Okay, so uh, So the way we used mobile phone was slightly different from what we're talking about, like journalists going to the field with their mobile phone to film. We decided to take advantage of the people because the advantage about mobile journalism is that we have so many journalists out there. They may not be trained, but they have a smartphone. Each one of them, most of
Yes.
them have smartphones. So how do we tell their stories using their mobile phones on our platforms? So we
Exactly.
started to crack, came up with the strategy. How do we tell this story? So we came up with a guideline to teach people how to use their mobile phone to film and tell their stories, guide them, be on call with people, tell them this is what you do, this is the location, these are the scenes you need to go for you to tell these stories. And we have done so many stories that have been done by contributors, a lot of stories. Guys who are stuck in
Yes.
lockdown, people who are stuck, for example, in Nairobi during a lockdown, they couldn't go to meet their families for so many months. We
Mm.
have done stories of musicians who have been motivating people to, just addressing the issue of mental health, entertaining people
Yes.
in their homes. The days that I've been doing stories, celebrities that have using masks or encouraging people to use their mask, or people have created music that does awareness on COVID and stuff like that. So we've told so many of these stories using the contributors' access to mobile phone. But we went a notch higher to help people understand how to use their mobile phones to tell stories that look credible to us and meet the quality. Obviously, the standards have to go lower because
Yes.
guys are using their mobile
Receiving
phones,
this
and
from.
also the cost of
Yeah.
internet is a problem. So even transferring that material to us to be able to have high quality, but it was understandable. So we use these stories on TV and on digital platforms. Yeah, so it has been incredible. We have been able to achieve. We've been able to tell stories from any corner of this world because we know that people have mobile phones. People are stuck in Wuhan. People are stuck in Italy. We've been able to tell all these stories because of that.
Thank you, Anthony. That is really speaking to the fact that it's possible to do this. And I'll probably have a follow-up question, especially regarding the issue of user-generated content. But let's allow Lawrence and Rose to also give their response to that particular question.
Well, in when it comes to like let's say the impact of the pandemic, like brought this year, I can say like especially for me working at Kenyans.co.ke, which is solely like a digital media company, I think the experience was a little bit less felt because we had already understood the field of digital media. So even when the restrictions came and all these guidelines that the government had put in place that affected broadcast media companies, I think to us it was more just a question of restructuring and like getting now how to maximize our efforts on the digital space per se. So yeah, I think it was just a matter of like, okay, now since we cannot maybe let's say go out shoot, how can we like source for our stories, like how can we make our audiences grow and engage with them. I think for us it was just more of an issue of just restructuring and making it work for us, and like sort of like leading the pack of like say broadcast media houses who are now like putting all their attention or rather focus into like the digital space. So yeah, I think that's just my personal experience in working for a digital company under the effect of the pandemic.
During the COVID era, so I think COVID has really opened up my eyes in that I'm able to see the stories that are happening around me. Now that you're limited in terms of distance, so it opened up my eyes so that I can see what is happening around me. What are the stories that I can tell that are happening around me personally? I'm more into constructive journalism, that is solution based journalism, where I tell stories of people making a difference in the society, providing a solution to problems that are happening in our society. So, COVID has taught me so much. And Also, I was able to learn how to convince people. With COVID, people ask a lot of questions, and there's so much information that was going around during the COVID era. So when people hear that you're a journalist, they want to ask you, is COVID real? Is it really there, or is it just some strategy? So as a journalist, you have to answer. You have to really think wisely when you're answering such questions, because you can answer it, maybe you can say it's not real, and then that one is already creating misinformation in the media, around you, and or they will not view that as a personal opinion. They'll view it as a company, because when you're out there, you're a brand, you're working for a company, you're not representing yourself as an individual. So during this COVID era, I've learned a lot. Mind what you say, because what you say can easily be picked by anybody, and the next thing you know, it's circulating all over. And once it's in the media, once it's in the social media platforms, it's like wildfire. It will just circulate so fast. So COVID has taught me a lot, and um yes, it has really taught me a lot, and I appreciate it.
Wow, that's very very interesting thing you're saying, Ross, there about misinformation and being journalist. It's really a risky thing to start playing into people's questions, because I remember like there's a story our colleagues in West Africa. There was this trend about COVID. Do you know someone who knows someone who knows someone who has COVID? That conversation was really happening, even here in Kenya. And so our team in Lagos went to a hospital and interacted with people in ICU who are actually, because we wanted to really show that this thing is real, despite people believing that it is something else. It's something that has been created. We went and interviewed people in the hospital, talked to the doctors, and actually gave visuals like just visibility access to the clinic, and just for people to see and experience for themselves what it is exactly to be infected with COVID-19. Yeah, so that has really been, so misinformation was a big deal. We actually started covering stories that are focusing on misinformation because of that. So we have a portal which is still ongoing, that will help people to understand. So when we hear misinformation or some stories that are trending about cure for COVID or stuff like that, we have a team of fact checking that do that. Then they do a correction story. We're able to analyze and tell you that according to World Health Organization or the experts, this is not true, or this is the story. This is the real thing about this. So maybe Lawrence, you can also tell us something about misinformation. It looks like Yegon has gone missing.
Yeah, but I think during, especially this year, there has been such an influx on like information, especially on the internet. Like I think for me, it has just made getting my sources, getting my research a little bit harder. I think that's the only like negative thing it has brought to the digital space. In terms of like before there were just very few, or rather very tight places where you can get your facts verified, get your information right. But now with this sudden influx of everybody just being on the internet, everybody wants to be heard, everybody is doing like generating content. I think like that influx has created so much overlapping information that it makes it hard for like journalists to get what they're actually looking for, what is factual, what is verified. I think that is all just something a bit hard during this COVID period, that getting creating your content and telling your story has made it a little bit harder. But other than that, I think what can I say? It's just information. People. It's during this year that like people are just starting up blogs. People are starting up their own websites. People are becoming their own journalists. They're doing their own stories. So it's like it's just so crowded over the internet. The internet is so crowded. That makes like really like a legit journalists, or people who are practicing journalism, to get like their foothold on the internet. I think that's just my own perspective.
Wow. Yeah. So the other thing about mobile journalism has been UGC, and I think Egon alluded to that when you were starting off. The problem of just verifying the content that you receive from users that you are or asking them to contribute to a particular story. One of the things that we noticed
Yes.
is first of all, you find someone has posted something, it's of interest, you're trying to pursue it, you ask them to give you that content or give you the rights to use that content. They probably tell you, yes, you can go ahead and use. Then you find out that that content was never shot by them. Okay, or someone, or they sold the right to someone else, then they are giving you the right to use it, so then you have those conflicts. So there have been some challenges with user generated content, and Diego, if you're back, you can take it over and just have guys talk about the experiences with user generated content.
Yeah, sorry guys, I think there's been a technical issue with the platform that we are using. But yes, the question that I had and my concern with especially user generated content, which at the moment I know has been, the way to go in terms of sourcing for stories, is the issue of verification. How do you go about that? Verify. I know it might be different for Rose and Lawrence because they go out. Um, to do those stories, but yeah, how is it for you? How do you go about that, verifying the content that you receive from different people in different locations, because you can't be at that particular location because of COVID-19? So how do you go about that?
Okay, so for us, the issue of verification is just as a challenge as to anyone else, but it's very very important and key for us to verify the information that we get. Uh, for the stories that we've commissioned on our own, we basically ensure that the content that is produced is actually produced because it's supervised by a producer. So, like if you ask a contributor to film themselves or not, that is supervised. We get on camera with the person that you're asking to contribute. So we are somehow part of the production process. So we wouldn't have a problem with that. But for user-generated content, like finding something interesting online, some trending images or trending videos, and you try to ask them to give you the rights to use this footage, it's been a problem. Although we have tools to verify. For example, if someone sends you, say that they actually took this picture, some of the things we do is that you ask them, because chances are that if you are the one who took this picture, you have some other photos with you. So you can ask them, can you send me some other photos that you took, okay, that are similar, all right?
Yeah,
So, but if they didn't take the photos, they won't have other photos, okay? Then the
yeah,
other thing is basically doing reverse image search, which can help you tell if this photo has been published before. They can tell you this fire is for Kilimanjaro this year, and yet it's for another mountain somewhere. Okay, so you can be able to use reverse image search to tell if this story has been published when it was first published. Then you can know that this is not a current story or it's not related. So there are various tools that you use as an organization to verify the content that we get. So the first thing we do is not to run around and publish the content we get from UGC, for example, but to spend time on verifying it. Once we verify is when, so we believe that we rather get it right, we rather be late,
yes,
but get it right than be the first to break it, then you get it all wrong. Because we have an obligation as an organization to be credible, to be impartial, and to be believable. So verification is very key. Then another thing is about rights. I had mentioned it earlier when you are off. It's about the rights. Sometimes you
yes,
ask the contributor if they actually the ones who own the rights, and they tell you
yes,
yes. It could be a video. You have done your reverse image. Actually, you don't find it, but they tell you that the ones who filmed it. Yet,
yeah,
one, they might have given it to rights to the agencies. Maybe they've sold it to Reuters or FP or some other agencies, and now the agencies are the
yes,
ones who have the rights. Yet they tell you, you can go on and use it. Then when you use it, then you start having copyright issues. Okay. Yeah,
issues,
but
yeah.
verification is very, very key for user-generated content.
All right. Do you want to add something there, Lawrence? Have you had the challenge of verifying or just trying to get the right information from, I mean, whether you're using user generated content. I don't know if that is something that applies to you, or you just
Yeah.
go out to meet your sources. It could be
Yes, I
different.
think from my experience as a mobile journalist, at first, the way Anthony had said, like at first, we were doing exactly as like I can quote him. He said, like running around just doing every story that there is. Like I said, influx of content was so much content, so you just find something that interests you, and you want to go like the extra mile to like go back and like look back to where this story originated from. So like we would just run, find a story, and do it. And then like it later came to like haunt us as time goes by. Some of these platforms, like you just issued with like a lot of copyright strikes and a lot of legal issues. So as time went by, I think we started now like leaning more to like user generated content. And now as me as a mobile journalist, as time went by, I started now like trying to find a story. If you are not the one who the story is originating from, if this is not the place where the story is originating from, or if this is not the time the story was happened, like that is those are like my four like main principles. It's not that like I just have to dive right into like intense research, like Anthony said, reverse search. Like do your research right, so that you can get your story right and you can get it like factual and verified. I think that's the only way you can self verify your work. If you can't, I think what I what I usually do is like get another source or get another like a credible person or company to get it verified for you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think what's coming out of this is, for you're still a journalist, whatever the technology. You remember to always verify. Yeah, I think that's important. Now let's come to this. I know a lot of people, usually when they hear the term mobile journalism and you try explaining to them what it is and all, there's this question: what type of phone do I need? I mean, can we try and break that down right here? How do you answer that question? Because a lot of people, of course, it's linked to the issue of the quality of the work that you are going to put out there, but especially now, especially during this moment, and just trying to connect it to the conversation that we've just had about user generated content. And for people who want to try, start out, just how do you break down that question for people? We'll come to editing and all later, but how do you try and, break down that question on, what kind of phone do I need? Do I need a high end phone? What are some of those things that you think are important? That regardless of whatever gadget it is, these ones are the things that you must have.
Maybe Rose can open for us that conversation.
Yes, Rose.
Sorry, I had gone for a while. I was having problem with my internet. So, but I've gotten that question a lot of times. People ask me, "What kind of phone do you use? Should I have? Do I have to buy a new phone, a good one?" So they ask me, "What are the things that I should look out?" And I have just a simple answer. Go for a phone that has good camera. Yes, and good space. Space and camera. You don't have to go for an extremely high-end phone. Go for a phone that is within your budget, provided that it has a good camera and good storage space. That is what I always look out for. Personally, I'm using a Samsung Galaxy S9, and as long as you have a good phone, good video and basically the storage, I think that's it for me. And also earphones come in very handy, especially when you're shooting a story, because it acts as a microphone. You don't have to go and buy a boom mic, you don't have to go and buy a wireless microphone or a microphone. Provided you have earphones, they can work perfectly for you, so you don't have to break yourself because you want to get a good one. Just look for storage and the and the camera quality.
Okay, that is Rosie's take. Enough storage and a good camera. Lawrence.
Well, first of all, my take is before like you even think about buying a new phone, I think the first thing you should do is like don't even go with like what they're advertising. I think that is the first mistake I did on my previous phone, because a lot of these phones, like that are advertised, that have like really good camera, not all of them, but some of them are like really just blown out of proportions, just to get the consumer to buy. So I think the first step is just get word on like people who have certain phones, or rather, if you want to buy like a phone, get word on like how is the camera. If you can verify like, oh, this is a good camera, can I get footage from like and see the quality of this camera, and get to know like how it shoots, then I think that's the first process. Just get word on the street, be it your friends, be it like maybe the shop that you're buying it from. Like I remember when I bought my Huawei, I don't know if it will be sponsored, but I had to like verify like, can I see like a clip of the quality of the camera. Not Don't tell me the specifics, just tell me, show me, just get to see the kind of footage that you have. Don't go with this is Kenya. Sometimes the phones that you might buy don't match up to the specific requirements that you need. Other than that, something else I should buy, of course you need sound. That is where I struggle with a lot, but currently I have good equipment. And yeah, and maybe like a tripod or a gimbal that comes for me as a secondary need, because most of the times when I go to shoot my model stories, some of the stories that I shoot are so fast paced, you do not have even time to like screw on your gimbal or your tripod or like set it down. You just, like Rose said, stories on the go. You just pick out your camera and just shoot what is happening. Yeah, so tripods and gimbals and maybe selfie sticks are like secondary to me. That's opinion. Yeah.
Yes, Anthony.
Well, I think Rose
Lawrence.
and Lawrence have said that. And so for me, just like they say, there is no good or bad gun. Is the It depends on the handler. So I thinking, of course, you need a good storage and you need a good camera, but a good phone. But the most important thing for me is about lighting. If you have, no matter how bad your phone is, if you have proper lighting, because mobile phones are not meant for video. They're not that was not their primary role. So some of them are very poor in low light. Okay, some of them are being done that are good with low light, but lighting is very key. So if I have to choose between, so I'm saying any phone for me, because I cannot tell my contributors to buy a phone just to give me a story. It will be very unfair. But I can ask them if they have someone who has a good camera around them who can film them or something. Okay.
Yeah.
So lighting is very key. Yeah. So you choose the position of where you want to film. If you have a chance, for example, if it's not a riot where you cannot tell them come and riot here, you can control where to film so that you use the natural light, put the contributor at a good lighting place and film there. And also the issue of sound, very key, because no matter how great your pictures are, if you have bad sound, your story is not as good. So sound is very key. And there are gadgets that you can buy to help you with sound. There are some options that, for example, for journalists, you can invest in a kit to help you tell the story. But for the public or contributors, there's a way you can tell them go to a quiet place or something and film closer, use their camera, their phones to film at a closer range so that the sound
Yes.
can be picked as well.
The sound can pick.
Then
Yeah.
also there is also the option of using another phone as a record to record sound. As you
Yes.
film, let them hold a phone and record the sound so that when you're editing, you can sync the sound and the picture so that you can get better quality sound. All right. So yeah, you need the gimbal, you need the stand. For journalists, I think yes, it's good to invest in that. For a media organization, it's good to empower your module team to have this equipment, because it really comes in handy. You have good quality pictures and sound. For us, we've given all our journalists a mobile phone. So every journalist has an iPhone, because an iPhone has very good picture for videos, and you also give them some software that helps them to record. So you don't just use the normal camera software, but you have some softwares that have more control about the pictures that you want to take, the sound that you want to take. So you empower your team to be able to give you better quality video than by a mobile phone. Okay.
And maybe just before I let you go, Anthony, for also the purpose of answering the question, what apps do you use? So, which ones do you think are the ones that are freely available for anyone to use, and for anyone who has advanced in this, which ones can they use? Like, which ones are you using at the BBC, for instance? And then we'll also get to hear from the from Lawrence and Rose to just help those people who are starting out to know that these are apps that are reachable. You can access them and you can use them to also do stories.
Okay, for us, we normally have our own apps, so we don't use like public apps. We have apps that are specific to BBC, which we
Okay.
use. So their names might not sound or ring a bell because we can't search them, but we
Yeah.
definitely encourage people to use custom. We use additional software, but obviously we have a lot
Mhm.
of free software that you can use. Like Filmora, for example, I use it for editing, and it's available. You can download and use. I think there is a list. Maybe I can share some links to some software that you can easily use for filming, enhancing your camera. Because, for example, you can change your camera from automatic to manual so that you can have more control your phone
Yes.
camera. There are software like that that can help you. But for us, we use our own software.
Okay. Very quickly, Lawrence and Lorgisa, on apps that you use to film and to edit.
For me, the app that I use to, film on site is called Open Camera. It's available on Android for free, and KineMaster for editing my videos is also actually something that you can get for free. But if you want to, upgrade and get certain features, you have to like invest in that a little bit. Yeah, all available on Android for free.
Okay. I don't know if Rose is here. Rose. Okay. When she gets back, we can have her respond to that question. Now, uh, for the purpose also of people who do not want, I am interested in just trying to hear from you people what you think the future of this type of storytelling is, and maybe even before that, just try responding to the issue of, and Anthony, you'll give us a little bit more perspective on this based on the experience that you've had in the industry, yeah. But the need to constantly and continuously acquire new skills, because of course we are in a dynamic space. So today, like, let me say, how many 20 or so years ago you were taught probably how to write, so writing newspapers and articles. Then it moved for people who are in broadcast, learning how to use cameras and all. And then today we are having the smartphone, and I don't know, but I don't think a lot of media organizations have plans for training, especially on this aspect, and the fact that we now have digital. So, speaking to the aspect of the need to continuously learn and acquire more skills, and how that helps you as a journalist, in the newsroom, or even an independent journalist outside.
Okay, so maybe I can go. So that is very critical. There's the attitude that people have that they are the best OB camera people. They are the best photographers. They know that's the only way they know how, and they can spend a lot of
Yes.
money and invest in those skills. Yeah, and the attitude has been mobile phone or digital journalism is for the young people who are on TikTok and what have you. But things are
Yes.
changing, the trends are changing. Okay, uh, people are not investing their money on their TV to advertise. People are not investing their adverts on newspaper. And why? because they don't think they're getting the results they need. Someone has a
Results.
small
Yeah.
shop here, and all they want is to tell people in the neighborhood that I am selling, for example. I don't need to advertise to 40 million people around the country. I just need to tell people in my community that I'm having this thing which you can come and pick, okay? Or I can supply to you or deliver to you. So, so what has digital done? It has enabled people to have power to target what they need. Okay, they can target this community. They can target people who are living in Nairobi only, or people are living in Kiambu or wherever, or in Lagos, or whatever. They can target. So
Yeah.
so are the news needs. The news needs are also the same. For example, I have a local radio station. I just need to target these people. I need to target this kind of group. So what are the skills do I need to be able to target these people? You are a journalist, okay? What are the skills? You should not just be happy that you can film or you can write your article. You need to acquire some additional skills. If I have done my article and it has been published, how do I market that product? How can I post it on social media? So you have to have multiple skills that you're able to create content. You can publish content. You can even publish on your own. There are a lot of people who have their blogs or vlogs, or they have channels on YouTube, whatever they can manage. So you are a journalist. You are a publishing firm, and you need to make money. So how do you do that? You'll also need additional skills, like how can you monetize your content that you've created? Okay, so the digital technology has given us limitless opportunities where instead of waiting for you to be employed, you can employ yourself. And by you acquiring additional skills, you can practice your journalism, you can market your journalism, and you can earn from your journalism. Okay. So it is very
Yeah.
important that you acquire these skills, and these skills, the good thing is that they are available. YouTube is offering those courses. You can learn how to create content on YouTube, content that work. You can learn how to place advertisements on social media, or how to create content that is easily searchable online. We have something called search optimization engine. You can learn all that thing, so that you don't just create content and have someone else market it, but you can actually go ahead, market your create content, market it, distribute it, and earn from them.
Exactly. I don't think I could have put it any better. Rose, you're going to respond to that question alongside the question on the applications that you use for filming and editing.
For filming, I use Open Camera. It's an app that I actually downloaded. So I use Open Camera for shooting because I feel like it has better quality as compared to the camera that came with my phone. So I use Open Camera. Then for editing, I use KineMaster. I find KineMaster easy, and I've mastered it. So that's the app that I am using currently, and it's the app that we've been training people and correspondents from Mashinani to actually use currently. So as for the second question, the world is changing, and so is the newsroom also. So you find that most of our audience have gone online. They've gone digital. Everyone is on their phone constantly, looking at maybe Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, name it, all social media platforms. And we as journalists, we have if we don't follow our audience to where they are, therefore we'll not be in a position to reach as many people as possible. So we have moved online because that's where our audience is. And going digital has helped us to segment our audience. We're able to tell who are our consumers, and therefore we are in a position to provide content that is suitable for our audience. Because at the end of the day, we are not making this content for us. We are making this content for the audience. And if the audience don't find this content suitable to them, therefore we'll have no viewership. So the digital era has really come in handy, especially right now that media houses are embracing convergence. That is bringing print together, bringing the whole newsroom together. And through our smartphones, we are able to do that because, for instance, I there was a story that was running for TV, and we felt like we can get a sample for the digital platform, and so I went alongside a camera person who was doing the story for TV, and for news, it's the time is limited, but for digital, if you're producing for Facebook platform, you can produce for 24 hours.
Yeah, I think Lawrence, you can proceed from there. I think. Okay, she's back. Yes. We, we,
Sorry,
we, we, yeah. Yes,
my
please
light
proceed.
got on and off. So I was saying,
Okay.
you see, with convergence, you find that for news stories have a limited time because the time is short. Um, then you can follow up a story on the digital platform to provide in-depth, and then you can do a story for print. So that is the whole essence of convergence. You can print will provide more in-depth, as for the digital platform will provide some additional information, audiovisual gets to get to entertain people, with visuals. So that is the whole aspect of convergence and going digital.
All right. We have guys who are watching us all the way from Sierra Leone. So Salon Messenger are also, a group of mobile journalists from Sierra Leone. Thank you so much for joining us. Ovita, Washira Njenge is saying great discussion this afternoon. Good stuff from Ovita. Rono is saying great conversation, guys. A versatile journalist should follow Mobile Journalism Africa. Thank you for that. Salon are also saying, that open camera is good, and also asking, can you help us with names of apps good for editing videos, that scrolling text moving on the button like video play. I think they want to know, a list of apps that you can use, that they can use for subtitling, if I am getting that right. So after Lawrence, you are done answering the previous question, then probably Anthony, you can take us through that.
Yeah, okay. For me, for mobile journalists, the keyword is diversity, and diversity like comes in three ways, on three like stages of your journalism career, in this like ever changing world. So first of all, like it begins in your pre-production. What's your story angle? How are you going to tackle this story? Like stories have already been done, yes, but how differently can you tell it? Which is your take? What is your take? How are you planning like to tackle this story? And then comes the production phase of your story, like how are you going to shoot it? What are the technical aspects that you're going to use on the ground, or while you're doing, or you're combining your like films and like your interviews and whatever. And lastly, post-production, like how are you, what are the elements that you're going to use, to enhance your story? What are some of the current trendy, like technology has given us like a wide array of like motion graphics, infographics, like a lot of aesthetics to like help your story, enhance it to another level that you can't see, in mainstream media. So I think with those three like toned down, and uh, looking for various ways like to do them, I think that keeps you ahead of the pack in terms of your stories, and getting them getting them noticed, getting your content out there in this like ever changing platform, this ever changing digital platform. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. Yes, Anthony. Uh, yes, just list them so that for Salon who are watching, they can take that down, and everyone else who's joining us.
Okay, so some of the softwares for video editing include Video Show. They are available for Android, and I think some of them are available for iOS. So we have Video Show,
Yeah.
we have Power Director, we have KineMaster, we have Quick, then we have Viva Video, then we have Farmet, then Filmora. I think you can paste them on the scroll, then they can see them. So that's
Oh
just
yes,
final thing. Yeah, so that's just the final thing I'd like to mention is that there is a difference between digital video. I think we can have a conversation around that. There is a difference
yes,
between creating content for digital and also and for TV, which is very very significant because the
yes,
consumers on digital platforms are not the same. They don't have the time or the patience or even the bundles to watch your content. So there must
yes.
be a difference, which I think we can provide a platform to discuss more how content creators in this team, Lawrence Ross, they can attest to that. That you cannot just post TV content and expect them to perform well.
Exactly. Yeah, that right now we cannot just, use that blanket judgment and say because it has worked on TV, then it's going to work well online.
Yeah.
Now, as we wind up, yeah, as we wind up, what do you think is the future? What does the future look like for storytelling? Is it going to be Mojo the entire time? Are we going to have other things? Because I've seen like other colleagues who are doing mobile journalism outside of the country. They are now using wearables like spectacles. What do you think, from your perspective, is the future of Mojo? Where do we start? Yeah, let's start with Rose and Lawrence. Then we finish with Anthony on that. Ha! No one wants to go first. Rose, are you ready? Or Lawrence? Who wants to go first? What do you think the future is like? At Mobile Journalism, we believe that, mobile, I mean, at Mobile Journalism Africa, we believe that it is the future. This is the future of storytelling, that we want to get more and more people to have the skill to tell the stories from their different locations. Yeah. And that would really be a good thing, because even for Anthony, if you need user generated content from whatever part of this country or even continent, we have a pool of people who are able to do it professionally. So yeah, what does it look like for you from your perspective?
Well,
Lawrence.
from my perspective, I can say that I have actually seen the mobile journalists like progressing as we go further. If you look like 1 year, 2 years down the line, or even just a couple of months ago, like most of the people who are using like mobile journalism skills, their videos were like sort of like plain and just like off the cuff like videos they get on site and just uploading them. But as time goes by, people are incorporating more ways in telling the stories, more elements, more what can I say, more film techniques in telling their story. I think that's one thing that broadcast media can never actually like catch up to. Like we have the freedom to like borrow from other career fields, borrow from other various aspects in visual entertainment that we can incorporate in our mobile stories in order to enhance them. Like you can see now, like you said, like some people also technique wise they're using like GoPros to tell their stories, and like tiny like shoulder what they call shoulder harnesses to like attach their mobiles there and just like tell a story from there. And I think what the future holds with it is all dependent on technology and the creativity and innovation of the youth and the young generation as time goes by. So we're looking forward to like very seamless, very clean, very interactive, and very engaging content from mobile journalists in the coming few years. So it's up to you, like as a mobile journalist, to like get on the trend, get to know, like let internet be your best friend. Like I remember before being a mojo, I never like used to used to invest highly on the internet, but now I see like every single minute you waste, someone somewhere is doing something in a different way, using different equipment, using different styles, and you just have to keep up with that and just get your stories ahead of the pack. And I think that's for me. Like in the next 2 years or 1 year, who knows? Who knows?
All right, Anthony.
Yeah, I think the mobile journalism is not going away, just like COVID. Yes, it's gonna be here for a very long time, and we will just have to harness. And I think we've been baptized into utilizing or really understanding the role of mobile journalism with the COVID-19 pandemic. And I think that's something that is going to happen for a very long time. And I think most of chances are that we will continually going to use less of the big cameras more and more. And so mobile journalism is there to stay. Obviously, there are more innovative ways that will be coming on, so the innovation is still happening, and we might switch to something else, but not in the near future. So equipping people with the skills of using mobile phone to create content, and even if that is not going to happen, there are people already understood the importance of mobile journalism. There are a lot of TikTokers that are doing amazing work. They have more following than some of the media houses that we have. So you either go for these skills and do a better job, or you'll be outrun. You'll run out of business.
That is aptly put, Anthony. Rose?
So, what the future holds for mobile journalism? First of all, we are human and we are innovative. We are never satisfied or we never stop innovating. For instance, when the first person came up with the mobile journalism, the first person who started with mobile journalism, they were like, how can we make our videos better? And therefore, apps were created. How can we edit these videos? And softwares were also created. Then you see, every day you come up with a solution to a problem. We look for ways to make our videos better and of quality. So we can never say that for mobile journalism, no, there's still more to come. I, the future is bright. For instance, many people right now are embracing mobile journalism. For instance, there's the SARS protest that is happening in Nigeria, and it's very important for us to understand what is happening
I think we could have lost Rose again. I think she said she has um, a little bit of an internet problem. Are you back, Rose?
Yes, sorry, I was giving an example of the SARS protest that is happening right now in Nigeria. You find that most of the
Yes.
videos that are circulating are created through smartphones. People are getting the world informed of what is happening in the grassroots, what is happening around us. Like the Khartoum massacre that happened some time back. Also, you find that mobile journalism is the one that was used to get the information out there. So more people are embracing mobile journalism, even media houses, and which is a good thing. Therefore, we can say that there's a great future for mobile journalism, and it is the way to go currently.
All right. Thank you so much for the different observations that we've had. Now, for people out there, young people who either want to start out, or even journalists who are in the newsroom and are watching this conversation, and they probably before this hadn't heard about what mobile journalism is, kindly speak to those people in terms of the opportunities that are there with going Mojo, and if they need any like, is there an opportunity in Mojo while you give your final remarks? So address that person who still thinks that, Mojo, when you do videos with your smartphone, they are of low quality. They cannot, make it or make the cut for TV, or, those who still believe that, if you're using your phone, probably you're just doing stories that are going to YouTube, generally content, but not necessarily stories, especially for journalists. So, what is your, word to such a person? Where do we start?
All
Lawrence,
right, let me
wants to
start.
go first.
Yeah. So I think as a mojo, the opportunities are immense. They are so immense. You're your own production house. To say you're your own. You're the person who comes up with the stories. You're the person who shoots your stories, edits. So you're like your own tiny production house. So it is up to you now, like as a journalist, to know to like fine tune your agenda, to fine tune your what are you trying to do? What is your objective at the end of creating a story? Is it are you doing investigative journalism? Are you doing like a feature on a particular person? And where the kind of platforms where you're going to like upload your stories? Like, what is your agenda? That is the best way I can put it. What is your agenda? Because once you fine tune like your agenda for your stories and getting to know what you want to do with your skills as a mobile journalist, I think that's where you kind of also like tighten the aspect of people who you're reaching, and people who are going to maybe help you eventually in your career, and also like your audience to engage and put word out there. So yeah, Anthony said something about TikTokers. I don't like I love TikTok, but that is also I usually view that as sort of like a competing platform. Like, these are content creators. Now you as a mobile journalist, you're not the same as people who are just doing like funny TikTok videos, but you want to be seen in that light of you're a professional. You're not just doing this for the fun. I mean, of course, maybe some content creators on such social media platforms are using them to like for a particular reason or a particular purpose. But you as a mojo, you need to show your journalistic ethics, your journalistic prowess, instead of just going shooting any story here and there. So yeah, I think I overlaid a lot of answers in there, but that is just my perspective on the kind of opportunities that await you. It's all up to you because you are your own company, you're your own business.
All right, Rose.
First of all, Lawrence, about TikTok, I feel like as a journalist, you need to stay relevant, go with the trend. What is currently trending in the storytelling world. So for our smartphones, we said that I think Mobile Journalism Africa says that our smartphones are our pocket studios. With them, we are a whole media house. You can shoot, edit, upload using your phone, and therefore this is for anyone out there who is looking forward to venturing into mobile journalism. At the end of the day, when someone looks at your content, they will not look at the device that you use to create that content. They will look at the quality. Does it resonate with them? Is it of good quality? That is what they are consuming. They're not consuming the device that you used. And yes, it's all about your creativity, how you packaged your story, right from storyboarding to shooting to editing to uploading it to marketing the story. So mobile journalism is the way to go. It's also good to tinker around. If you're a journalist that is using the big cameras in media houses, it won't hurt to take your phone and get to learn, get to tinker, look at what you do with your phone other than just texting, chatting, calling, because with our phones, there are places that big cameras cannot access. For instance, if you're doing a story in the mountains and you have to do hiking, when you have your phone, you're good to go. The cameras are bulky. So at the end of the day, we are not saying that our phones are replacing the cameras. No, we are saying that they can work hand in hand. Where the big cameras cannot go, our smartphones can get us there because they are flexible, they are portable, and they are discreet, basically, as Yusuf Omar says. So that is what I can tell someone who is out there. Not be afraid to try out new things, have an open mind.
All right, thank you very much, Anthony. While you prepare to answer that, I want you to also speak to one thing before we leave it out, because I think it's important. Yeah, the question of ethics, that the fact that you have your phone and you can film easily and all that, yeah, should not um, does not dismiss the fact that you still have to follow all those, codes, journalistic codes of conduct. So please also just speak to that, also basing on the experience that you've had and any challenges that you've encountered, probably filming with your phone, with regards to the ethical question.
Yeah, you've actually put it. Uh, we are just utilizing different technologies to help us tell the story, but our journalism remain our journalism. The issue of balance, giving a right of reply, the whole story of the ethics, the fact that you cannot expose people, people that who have been sexually violated, or people that may be in danger because of the story you're doing. All those things have to remain because they are the top of the journalism that we do. Okay, so the fact that you're doing your story with your mobile phone does not mean that you are not adhering. You have to adhere to a journalism, and that's what sets you apart from just being anyone who has a mobile phone and someone who is actually a journalist. Okay, so it's very, very important that you keep to the standards of journalism in your story doing or storytelling. Okay. Then on the issue of TikTok, obviously it's very key that there are young people there, and we need the young people. So if people, your audience are there, you need to get there. Put your ethics and your journalism and your great storytelling adhering to the interests of the people who are on TikTok. So you'll do fun stories, but you'll still tell journalistic stories, but be able to attract that audience, the younger audience that you're looking for. Because at the end of the day, the younger audience are very important to us, and people are targeting them. You need to tell them their stories. And those young audience, they are not watching TV, they are not reading newspapers. So you need to go for them and tell them that journalism that you're practicing. And for my closing remarks, uh, the fact that you are a journalist, or even if you are an upcoming journalist, or you're just a person there who is passionate about storytelling, just remember that you have a tool, and that tool is called a mobile phone. Okay, and stories are happening all over. Stories are happening at the backyard, and when stories break, like there's a plane that is crashing right in your eyes, you'll not have the time to go and look for your camera and look for a driver to take you to cover that story. We will really appreciate having that fast image, and your mobile phone can cover that. Then the last thing I would like to mention about mobile journalism is that look at it like you have a network, a global network of people who have smartphones, and those people can be your contributors to the story. Okay, so take
Yes.
advantage of that. That you are not limited by borders, you are not limited by time, you have people all over the world that have mobile phones. So if you want to interview them, you should not be limited. You can interview just about anyone. You just need to DM them, tell them you want to tell this story and you like them to comment to your story or something. Anyone, you are so limitless. Okay. Yes,
Yes.
yeah, I think that's a very key point for you to note that you have a network and you always have a gadget in your pocket that can tell that story that is happening around you. Okay, so go ahead and tell that story and adhere to the script. There are guys who are doing amazing stuff. Script, do your work well, plan and film, and do a great story. And finally, it does not mean that because you're doing mobile journalism that you have to do editing on mobile phone. No, you can film your phone, your stuff on phone, and still edit on Final Cut or these other softwares on your tab on your in your laptop. Okay, so there is no limit that you have to be stuck because you see the phone screen is very small, so it's a bit tricky for you to edit. Yeah, so if you can edit on your phone, well and good. But if you have a chance to edit later on your tablet or on your laptop, go ahead and do the editing from there. Okay, so that is cool.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys. I know we agreed that we are going to have this discussion in 1 hour, but questions keep coming up, and I'm glad that we've been able to respond to all of them. Thank you, Christian Balbo, who's watching from Argentina. They also run an organization called Mojo Latam in Argentina. So thanks for watching, guys. Really, uh, this I think has been interesting, and the purpose of starting this conversation called Dear Journalist is to be able to reach out to young journalists and connect them to veteran journalists like yourself now, Anthony. Yeah, and it's not just like Mojo. So this week we've had this conversation with Mojos. We've had a conversation with investigative journalists. We've had Kina Alanamu here. We've also talked to reporters, and we are going to continue just building these conversation with the different journalists so that we share experiences and we share knowledge. So thank you so much for sparing time to have this conversation.
So much for having us. We really appreciate it, Egon. Well done.
All right. Yes, Rose, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. It's been an amazing session. And maybe just one last word is journalism is not an 8 to 5 job. It is full time. It's a full time job. It's about what you see, what you smell, what you hear, and what you feel. Basically, it's not something that it's not a career where you have to take off your shirt, your coat, your lab coat, and be like, I'm done for the day until tomorrow. What happens around you, what you see around you, what you can smell, that is where your story is.
Interesting, interesting. Lawrence?
For my closing remarks, is just like it has been an amazing session having you guys, my mentor Yegon. I don't know if I mentioned that at the beginning of this. Yeah, it has been such a journey, and the journey still continues for me as a mobile journalist, and I hope it does begin for those who are not mobile journalists because it's one hell of a ride. So yes, so thank you so
All
much.
right. Asanteni sana. Just for those who are watching, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. Filamu ya Kimathi is saying, proud of you, Lorgisa. The discussion is on point. So yeah, thank you guys for joining. For the purpose of of full disclosure, Anthony Makokha trained me on mobile journalism in the year 2017, and God has been faithful since then. I have been able to train Lorgisa and Lawrence and many more, and that number continues to grow because, like we said, we want to ensure that more and more people are able to have this skill, so that, like we say at Mobile Journalism Africa, our stories are best told by us. And so if everyone is able to have that skill, then we are able to tell our stories better. So asanteni sana. Cool. Bye bye. Bye bye for now. We will meet again next week. The same platforms: Mobile Journalism Africa on Facebook and Mobile Journalism Africa on YouTube as well. So let's feel free to engage if you know also of a journalist or you want us to bring a particular journalist to this conversation. Feel free to reach out to us on our digital platform. So www.mobilejournalism.co.ke, that's our website, and on all our social media platforms. Asanteni sana. See you next Thursday.